Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, a little Negro League update in the world of boxing. Y'all know who my Negro League fighters are and your Negro League fighters. Hey, those are the fighters that we know are the very best, that no one ever says, hey, go fight them, no matter if they have a title or not. And we do things to make sure that they don't get opportunities. Right? Obviously good fighters. Here's one of the chairmans. Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz is going to fight Charles Martin on January 1st. Hard fight for an old man, right? You know, it's an old man. But, let's see what happens when he goes into that fight and see if he can, get past your boy Charles Martin. That's going to be a good fight. Louis Ortiz wants to take him out and see if he can get other fights. But let's make sure it's clear. Has anybody said, hey, go fight Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz? No. Actually, you know what? If Tyson Fury doesn't fight Dillian White and vacates the title, I'd rather Dillian White versus Ortiz fight. Let Deontay Wilder stay out for a minute and heal. That's what I would rather happen. But that's a whole scenario. But I guarantee you, if that were to happen, if the WBC were to force Dillian White to fight Ortiz, then all of a sudden something will go down. But let's just see what happens. That's one of the chairmen. Ain't nobody trying to fight him. And here's another one that, no one is going to fight. Canelo ain't going to fight. Gennady Golovkin ain't going to fight for years. Another chairman sitting next to Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz. That's Demetrius Andrade. Right? And check it out. You're getting articles right now. Who is the biggest threat for Canelo? Like he ain't got threats. Like nobody's going to fight him. And everybody that they mention are people that Canelo would have to go up to fight. Beterbiev could be a threat at 175. If Alexander Usyk come down for heavyweight and fight him at cruiserweight, he could be a threat. Trying to act like he didn't have threats at 154, that he don't have threats at 160, like there ain't no threats at 168. Benavidez, who's not a Negro League fighter, but a bad Mexican fighter. David Morrell is busting down the door to the Negro League club with Jerron Boot Ennis together. They kicking it together down. They're going to just bust open the door. David Morrell, he's at 168 and has a title. We act like he doesn't exist. And of course we act like Demetrius Andrade don't exist. There was a little panel from England. This is what's, from England, a panel with, like Johnny Nelson and Adam Smith, the commentator, and George Groves and Carl Froch. The English supremacy over there, right? And everybody mentioning everybody, Beterbiev, Usyk would have to come down. He's going up to fight Makabu and all that stuff, right? And this is all deflections. Like Canelo, wherever weight he is, Demetrius Andrade is his biggest problem, right? But the key is to never mention him. Demetrius Andrade is so much of a problem that they're both signed at DAZN to could be fighting, and DAZN doesn't even mention Demetrius Andrade because they've been told you better not, right? Canelo's at 154, mandatory for Demetrius Andrade. Won't fight him. Canelo's at 160. Right? Can fight Demetrius Andrade for $40 million and undisputed. Not only does he doesn't fight him, the whole boxing community, all the mainstream media, and most of any media, still to today, doesn't even mention that. Like that didn't even happen. Canelo did not take a $40 million fight for undisputed at middleweight. With one fight, then goes up to super middleweight, where it's a little bit easier. And then we start mentioning, he's going to fight Yildirim to get the WBC title, right? Which he should have been able to fight Benavidez, but they didn't. So they were giving him, he fought Callum Smith for the WBA 168-pound title, and the WBC gives him the WBC title on that fight. Instead of saying, when you get back, when you finish with the rest of them, you got to come fight WBC and fight Benavidez. No, he was given that. And then the whole media gets behind him going to fight Yildirim for the WBC, Callum Smith for the WBA, IBF with your boy Caleb Plant, and whatever one the Billy Joe Saunders had, right? And they got behind that like that was historical. No, what was historical is for someone to not fight for $40 million to be undisputed at the better weight division, the middleweight division. That was historical. That was historical, what you guys like to say, a duck. Avoiding. That was historical. I don't think any of the great middleweight champions, super middleweight champions, junior middleweight champions, or whatever weight have ever done something that historical. To get their biggest payday in their life for one fight to fight another guy. And that other guy, we're not going to mention. And we could do surveys and talk about Canelo Alvarez fighting all these other dudes that they would be a threat. No, the threat is Demetrius Andrade. That has never changed. Never. No matter what weight Canelo goes to, Demetrius Andrade has told you he would go there. 154 is the only one that they can't go down to, and Canelo can't make that either. Probably harder than Demetrius Andrade. They can fight at 160. Canelo don't want to go there. They can fight at 168. Demetrius has said he'd go there. And he has also said he will go to 175 to fight Canelo. Right? So why are we talking about all these other dudes? And then we're going to act like, oh, the other guys could be bigger threats. But Khabib ain't no more of a threat than Demetrius Andrade. And I told you why. Demetrius Andrade and Devin Haney got this in common. It ain't about the punching power. It's about you can get embarrassed messing around with them. That's why all of a sudden, have you seen the whole lightweight division and the president of the WBC doing everything possible to make sure no one has to fight Devin Haney? Why the hell is that? It's the similarities. Demetrius Andrade is tall for his weight division and extremely skillful. That's what that is. Right? So we don't never have to be talking about all these other people. Listen, Negro League fighters are like this. All of them. It could be Deontay Wilder, your boy, Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, David Morrell, Jerome Boot Ennis, the new ones, Terrence Crawford, Demetrius Andrade, Jamal Charlo, Guillermo Rigondeaux. It's like this. Ain't nobody gonna ever, Devin Haney of course, no one's gonna ever tell any of the fighters in their division, go get him. Have you heard that when any of them? Go get Demetrius Andrade. Go get Devin Haney. Go get Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz. Right? Go get David Morrell. Go get Boots Ennis. Go get Terrence Crawford. When have you ever heard those sentences? Ever. And so that means those other boxers aren't better than them. This is the issue. That's what has to just stop. Right? That's what it has to just stop. So when I see a survey and everybody is not mentioning Demetrius Andrade, to me it's egregious. To me it sounds important. These people are getting paid to talk boxing. Right? And they act like Demetrius Andrade does not exist. That's why he's a Negro League fighter. Because when the white boys was playing baseball back in the day and everybody was talking about they was the best, we knew these brothers over here were just as good or better. That's what this is. Canelo is not ever going to be better than Demetrius Andrade until he fights him. And y'all need to get on the bandwagon right now to make sure you understand. Don't let them mention Canelo Alvarez without mentioning Demetrius Andrade, because the fight was there. There was no reason not to fight him. They didn't want to fight him, not even for undisputed and the biggest payday of his life. So that is enough proof as it is. And you still won't mention Demetrius Andrade, and no one in boxing does either. Why the hell do you think that is? Right? But Demetrius Andrade don't bring nothing to the table. 40 million ain't bringing nothing to the table. Undisputed ain't bringing nothing to the table. Let me tell you something. Right now, whatever fighter that ain't black that beats Demetrius Andrade would be a mega star on site right after that fight. Whoever it is, because Demetrius Andrade gonna lose just like anybody else eventually, because he can't keep getting motivated to fight me, right? Here's the bottom line. Whoever beats Demetrius Andrade, whenever it is, becomes a mega star on point. Just like any other. Somebody not black beat Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, gonna happen. Somebody not black beat Terrence Crawford, gonna happen. Somebody not black beat Guillermo Rigondeaux, for real, without some smack going on, would be a mega star. Look, Lomachenko was 2 weight divisions bigger than him, right? 2 weight divisions bigger than him. Wouldn't come and meet him halfway. Well, actually 2.5 weight divisions bigger than him. Guillermo Rigondeaux's fighting at 118 right now. They had to fight at 130, right? Guillermo Rigondeaux's old Methuselah, right? Methuselah running around here, about 40-something high, right? And he couldn't get this dude. He's at 118 right now, which means he could really make 115. But he's at 118 right now. Had to fight your boy at 130 pounds. They didn't want to fight at 126 or not at 124, right? And yeah. Lomachenko's huge by beating him. That's the bottom line. So no distractions. Canelo, they're asking the wrong panel. Ask a panel of people who who probably not in boxing because you're being told what to say. That's what my point is. There's no way that you have a panel of people and they can say who's Canelo's biggest threat and Andrade's name doesn't come up. If Andrade's name doesn't come up when we're talking threats of Canelo, then it's egregious. They're lying. It's that simple. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.